we've got several sports with us today. As you know, we've got our baseball program, both a coach and some representatives of the program, track and field on both the men's and women's side, our head coach and some of our student athletes. We've got our men's and women's golf program represented and wrestling. So a lot of sports represented and a lot of winners. That's one of the great things here, that we continue to win at a really high level. Last year, as many of you likely know, we were first place in the OVC. We won the overall competition, the Commissioner's Cup, as they refer to it, that measures comprehensive excellence across all sport programs. And you're always kind of the hunted after a year in which you win an award like that. Right now, we're right in the thick of it. I took a look at the standings here right before I came down, and we're sitting in a tie for second place with Tennessee Tech, trailing Southeast Missouri by just a couple of points. So the sports that are in season right now are going to have a major impact on how we do in defending that award. So we're excited about that, and I think we've got a chance to bring it home for a second year, our second in 3 years in the Ohio Valley Conference. So that would be really exciting. A couple of things I just bring up before we hear from our coaches and our student athletes, the real stars of the show. It's hard to believe how quickly time flies. It was right about a year ago, coming up on a year ago, that we were across the street at the Bailey Center for my introductory event. And so I'll be hitting a year at Little Rock on April 15th, tax day. I don't know, maybe that's a little ominous, but quickly time really flies, and it's been a fantastic year. Getting to know everyone within the program here and within the university community, and then the Little Rock and Central Arkansas community at large. It's really been a fantastic year, and I appreciate everybody being so welcoming to me and my family. When I look at our department, we look a lot different than we did a year ago. When I came in and took a look at what we needed to do from an administrative support standpoint to really bring a level of support to our sport programs, we looked to identify 10 places, 10 administrative positions in which that would help us look like a thriving Division I collegiate athletics program. And, right now we've got 8 of those individuals on board here over the last several months that are doing great work positioning us for success in the future. Excited about that. One just started 2 days ago, as a matter of fact. And then we've got 2 more positions that we're looking to fill here over the course of the next few weeks to round out our administrative team and put just as competitive a team in the boardroom from an administrative standpoint as we have on the fields and courts and mats with our teams. There have been three items that have come up here of late that I think are important to share where we're heading. The first is about a month ago we made an announcement that Little Rock Athletics and the University UA Little Rock as a whole is opting into the House settlement. It's ironic that the final hearing to decide if that all goes through is on Monday, coming up here in just a few days, the day of the men's basketball national championship game. So I guess there'll be split attention on that day. But what we think, and there's certainly a lot that goes into it, but us declaring that we're opting in to that settlement is really a statement about what we think athletics means at UA Little Rock. We think Trojan athletics matters, and we want to be able to compete at the highest levels. And so opting into that settlement gives us a chance to be able to go out and recruit the best and brightest student athletes and compete across the board. So we're excited, and we think that really that's really a statement about what the institution feels athletics can do for us moving forward. So we're excited about that. I know there may be some questions on it, and happy to take those. The second item is that we're in the process of going through a facilities master plan exercise. And we want to determine what we need in order to be successful from a facility standpoint. This building that we're in right now, the Jack Stevens Center, which is by far the best multi-purpose indoor facility in our league, is coming up on 20 years old. It'll be 20 years this November. And so what we're doing as a part of that process is determining what makes this building work for us over the next 20 years like it has over the past 2 decades. We're a different program now than we were 2 decades ago, and that's to be expected. So we're studying it to determine what a renovation of this building looks like, both from how it serves our teams and our student athletes, as well as how it serves our fans. What are they looking for that makes it an attractive proposition to come and watch a wrestling meet or watch a basketball game? And certainly all of our teams wind up coming through this building, whether it's our academic center, our strength and conditioning area, our sports medicine unit. So we want to make sure that this building has the resources that are up to speed with what the other top programs have today. And so figuring out what this building looks like over the course of the next 2 decades is part of that process. The second piece is a baseball facility. We want to take a look at what going out and building a baseball facility that's commensurate with the level our baseball program competes at, what that would look like. There are some great examples across the country, both large and smaller, of big college baseball facilities that have really turned into cathedrals, much in the way Major League Baseball parks have. So determining, not only the where, but how we might go about getting a project like that done will certainly be a part of that facilities master plan process. And then finally, from a golf facility standpoint, right now we have a golf facility that is adequate, golf training facility. We're fortunate that we have access to all of the top courses throughout the area, and we're grateful to those partners for providing us the ability to be on those courses. But from a training standpoint, what goes into a facility like that? What do we need to do in order to put our golf programs in the best position possible to succeed? We've got a great golfing community in Central Arkansas. Some of the top courses in the Mid-South and throughout the country are right here. And so we want to determine what puts our teams in the best position to succeed. And then there are other projects that we're working on as well. For example, we're getting ready to put in a new turf at the Coleman Sports Complex for our soccer team to compete on. That's important. That turf is about 12 years old and it has likely outlived its useful life. And so that's something we'll take on here in the late spring and early summer. So we'll have a new track to play on coming up in the fall. And then right after that, we're taking a look at resurfacing the track at the Coleman Sports Complex as well. So figuring out how we continue to make improvements, both large and small, for our programs, so that we give our athletes the best resources to ply their trade. And all of that leads into something that we'll have more information on coming up here through the summer and the early fall. And that's how do we go out and pay for these things? How do we go out and pay for new facilities or renovations? And so we're in the process of getting our ducks in a row to be able to launch an athletics capital campaign where we go to those that are most vested in our success and ask them to invest in us. We and our coaches have a very clear vision of how and where we want to be able to compete. So the idea that we are able to present that to the people that care about us most and help them invest in our future success is where we want to be. So as we get more information together about what all that entails, we'll have more information to share. So those are really some of the general department updates that I had to share with you, and certainly happy to take a question on any or all of it, and then we'll get to hearing from our teams.
Frank Price, Arkansas Money Politics. Could you comment a little bit about how this spring has been? You've had a lot of successes. Wrestling goes to nationals. You've had some track success. You've had some golf success. Just talk a little bit about what the spring's been like for this department.
Well, it's been great, and it really goes back to the beginning of the year. Our teams in the fall had some really good outcomes. Our volleyball team was contending for the conference title right up into the last week or so. Soccer made it to the semifinals of the conference tournament, and we're right there in the top. I believe they finished third in the regular season. So that's what we try to instill, that hey, we're not a program that only prioritizes one sport or the other, but we try to be broad-based. And so it's become to be the expectation that our programs compete at a high level, and across the board we're doing that. So it's exciting, right? When you have success It's fun to be at the events. It's fun to see us the horse race of how the standings look, and so we're excited about that. It's something we continue to want to instill.
Anybody else? Yep, Mike?
Kind of going back to the fund, you kind of said you were in the preliminary stages of it, so I don't know how far down the road you are, but is that something that you kind of plan on asking the city, or maybe, for taxpayer money for that as well?
Well, I don't know that any solution or any opportunity is off the board at this point. We're fortunate that we've got a really great relationship with the city. Mayor Frank Scott is a UA Little Rock alum, and so anytime we can look at an opportunity to collaborate on something that would be good for the university and our student athletes, as well as good for the city, we'd certainly take a look at it. I can't tell you that there's any specific plan or project on tap right now, but that's definitely something we would be excited about exploring.
Functionally with revenue sharing, or I guess generally, would that be something where it's like each team gets a certain pool of money? Just how does that how do you envision that looking?
Yeah. Well, right now we're in the process of determining what that model looks like, right? And there certainly are some sports where that's a little bit more advanced than others. A lot of it is market driven. Certainly whether it's in college football, college men's, and to some extent women's basketball, that's become the norm, right? And certainly those flagship programs we need to make sure that we continue to compete at a high level in them. So. Right now, we're in the process of developing that model to make sure that we can continue to give our coaches the resources they need to recruit the best and the brightest. So there's more to come on that for certain, but it's definitely a changing landscape. As I spoke to some folks, some of you in this room, and others back around the time we made that announcement a month or so ago, the ground under our feet is moving. And so I would anticipate that even if the House settlement is approved and goes forth here in a couple of days, it won't be the last adjustment, the last type of change that's made. So we've put ourselves in a position to be as nimble as we can. I know for a type A planner like me, not knowing exactly what we're doing moving forward is a little bit maddening, but that's the world that we live in. That's the industry right now. So we'll do our best to be responsive and continue to put the Trojans in a good place.
One more, Frank, but just with the transfer portal, just can you touch on how that's kind of affected you guys this spring, and if you have any thoughts on kind of the timing of the portal window?
Yeah, the transfer portal, it giveth and it taketh away. It's one of those things where there are folks that may like it, that may not like it. I certainly have some thoughts on that, but bottom line is that it's here to stay, right? It's not going anywhere. So figuring out how to be responsive to the opportunities it provides and use those rules and guidelines to your advantage is where we're at. I think there has to be some adjustment made with the windows for certain sports. I mean, you've got young men and young women who are out there competing for not only conference championships but national championships, and this window's opening, right while they're trying to do so. That's not fair. That's not fair to anybody. And so I think we as an industry have to come back together to say, hey, let's put some common sense parameters in place so that you don't have to have a young man choosing to whether or not to test the waters and see what opportunities might be out there for them. Meanwhile, they're in the huddle trying to win a game, trying to advance in a tournament. So we've got to be smarter about that and do better for the industry as a whole.
As far as revenue sharing goes, you mentioned opting in. Do you know, as far as your conference, how many other programs have also opted in? And was there any discussion with you and some of those other athletic directors to share advice to see, should you opt in or not?
Sure, quite a bit. Both at the conference level with my peers and colleagues in the OVC, and then I've been doing this now for coming up on 30 years. So the network that I've established of other ADs, some leading programs that are very similar to ours, some leading those that are very different. I won't say it's the only topic of conversation, but it's certainly the first and the one we spend the most time on. Everybody's trying to figure out what their new normal is, and those in our program have heard me use that phrase a lot. new normal because our industry is changing, it's different. So we talk about how schools are walking up to it. Most of the schools in the OVC have chosen to take a wait and see approach. I think that something that's probably underreported or not understood quite as clearly is that it's not a one-time decision. Someone can choose not to opt into the terms of that settlement now, and a year from now choose to do so. And there are a number of OVC programs that have opted to do that. We thought that it was important to be first to the punch. We think it gives our program, our coaches, and our student athletes an advantage by being early adopters or opting in this first wave. So, we wanted to do that to put ourselves in the most competitive position possible. But every institution has their own set of concerns and their own factors that they deal with that led them to their decision. But this was the right one for us.
Anybody else?
Well, hey, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. This is a great turnout, and we'll get on to the real stars of the show, our coaches and student athletes. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you everybody for being here. And first of all, I want to echo what Frank just talked about. It's a really exciting time to be at Little Rock and be a coach. And I know I speak for the players to be a part of the athletics program. And the fact that we've been very aggressive about being out front and opting in, that's already had ramifications in recruiting, in support from the community, and just a statement about how serious we are about winning here at the Division I level. And then right behind that, you start talking about a capital campaign maybe to be launched hopefully soon, and facility plans. That's about the players. And it's needed, and it's recognized by our admin, and it's very much appreciated. And so as we're keeping our head down and competing every day, and I think I speak for all sports, we know that behind the scenes there's a lot being done to move us forward after we all get the ruling that comes down on Monday. And so it's very, very reassuring behind the scenes to know our leadership is going in the same direction that I know the players want to go and the coaches. As far as Little Rock baseball, well, first of all, if you look outside, it's not baseball or golf weather. And so we've already pushed our series this weekend against Lindenwood to a Sunday, Monday. We're hoping for a doubleheader on Sunday and then a single game on Monday. I saw where Eastern Illinois and Tennessee Martin were playing a 10 o'clock a.m. doubleheader this morning to get out ahead of it, and then another single game tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So they're trying to beat the weather, and we're trying to get it out of here. So we got the tarp on the left field grass, and we're going to dump that on the infield, as backwards as that sounds. And we're going to do everything we can to get these games in, and we're excited. We were off to a good start and ran into some adversity real fast with it, and I had to bring a list to remember everything. But we got 5 key starters out of the lineup, and when I say starters, I'm talking about catcher, shortstop, first base, center field, closer. Another 3 that I say are banged up, meaning they're doing a great job of playing hurt and toughing it out, and 4 others that were preseason out for the year. And we don't use that as an excuse. Nobody feels sorry for us. We don't feel sorry for ourselves. But then there are excuses and there are reasons why you go through some adversity. And when your roster's depleted like it is, that matters and that factors in. That being said, I want to compliment the guys on the way that they're stepping up, next man up, and they're filling in maybe positions and spots that they're not profiled or suited to play. Maybe they're pitching extra innings or pitching on a short start or playing 3 different outfield positions or whatever. They're doing a great job of battling. And so the message to the team is, first of all, been every goal that we want to accomplish this year is still right there in front of us. We're in weekend number 2. We have 7 more weekends to play, 21 more conference games, so it's all right there in front of us. And our goal is to get to regional. To do that in the OVC baseball tournament, you just got to win the tournament, and we can still do that. That's getting hot in 3 days, but our expectation is to win the regular season, win the tournament, get to a regional. I do firmly believe a big piece of that will be getting healthy. Normally injuries are scattered throughout the season. These all hit at once. And so the next question I've gotten a lot is when will they be back? Gradually, stair step, week by week. And until then, we're going to hold down the fort and we're going to get after it. And we're going to compete at a high level. We've got Jace Blaylock, who's, don't want to talk about it too much, but he's on fire right now at the plate. Hit a big home run straight into the wind to tie the game in the 7th inning, I believe, on game number 3. Jack Klein's been in the rotation, weekend rotation, and been an anchor for us, and so thought it would be good for you guys to talk to them.
Coach, just, I guess, talk about how difficult it is on a day-to-day, not necessarily knowing who you're going to have in a lineup or how it's all going to shake out. Is this one of the harder years for you, kind of from a management standpoint?
It's not one of the hardest, it's the hardest I've ever gone through, and it's the first half. But it's we expect to win. Our expectations internally are higher than everybody else's expectations externally, and trying to put these guys in the best position to win a ball game is our job, my job, and that's kept me up at night early in the morning, trying to be creative, trying to play different lineups, move a guy to this spot so that this guy can be more comfortable over here. We've looked at everything. We've crawled under the hood and changed all the tires and done everything we can do. And we're still doing that, and it's fluid. But I feel sorry for Joey Lednicki, our trainer, who every time he walks toward me, he's got his head down, and he's just the messenger. And I want to compliment him because he's done such an unbelievable job along with our medical staff, and Dr. Paul England's done a great job of getting these guys back out there as quickly as possible. But yes, it's taken a great toll, but that's my job. That's part of it. It's what I signed up for, and we're going to get it solved.
Well, that's from a, I guess, confidence standpoint, all that. How do you kind of keep things up whenever you get off to a slow conference or you have all these injuries, knowing that the second half could be, as those guys come back, things could get back on track?
It's a great question, and I'd be excited to hear their perspective too. But my message is, first of all, been to stay very positive, and by that, we don't sugarcoat anything by any stretch of the imagination. But what we have tried to remind the players is there's a standard and a way we play the game. We play hard, we hustle, we have positive attitude and energy. We expect to win every game, and instead of the focus being on the very end of the season and these big goals, what we've tried to do is pull back and have smaller targets that are right there in front of us. So we've asked the hitters to just give us your best quality at bat. Usually that's 4 at bats a game, give us 4 quality at bats. We've asked the pitchers to give us a quality start, get the leadoff man out, get us off the field with 2 outs, see if you can get to the 6th inning with a lead and hand the ball to the bullpen. And let's grade ourselves that way, and then the scoreboard will start taking care of itself. And then are we competing at our highest level? And each individual player, are you competing at the highest level that your talent, ability, and focus and concentration will allow you? All the while eliminating mental mistakes, eliminating physical routine mistakes, and not giving the extra outs to the other team.
Yeah, it's one for either 2 players. Just because of the injuries, everything that's been going on, kind of an up and down season, how important has it been to just be positive in the clubhouse, showing leadership, that sort of thing, to just kind of keep the boat going, so to speak?
I think that's been a big part to help keep us going. I mean, obviously losing games isn't fun, but it's not like we're just getting boat race. We're 1 play away, 1 swing away every game, and so I think going to the locker room after the games, talking with the guys, trying to realize that we're all just 1 play away every time, and if we can stay locked in and keep working and practice like Coach says, then we can get over that hump.
Yeah, and I think, we keep it positive. Coach tells us every day, we're 1 game away from just getting hot, whatever. He tells us that he's had past teams that had a worse start than us, and they came out on top. So we just try to stay as positive as possible.
Jace, for you, how much have you enjoyed playing different positions, getting moved around, or would you rather be, in one spot. What's that been like for you?
I've enjoyed every second of being a Little Rock baseball player. I mean, wherever coach puts me in, that's why I want to play. DH, left field, right field, whatever I can do to get my team to help them win. So,
What do you feel like has been working for you at the plate recently?
just staying on my approach, just being me, and just letting it all hang. I'm not trying to think or guide where I want to hit the ball. Just play like I've been playing since I was 3. So.
Jace is best when Jace is swinging with 110% aggression, and we all know that Jace has really gotten into the ball because he'll give a loud grunt that can be heard from the stands. And so when we hear that, that's Jace. It's not intended at anyone or to showboat. That's Jace feels real good about that swing. So he does not get cheated.
Coach, just with, you hear it every year in the MLB after, all-star break, there's always those teams that kind of get hot for the break.
Right.
I kind of think about this week, where you're kind of going Sunday to Sunday between games. It's almost kind of like a accidental all-star break, if you will. So, what do you do to stay sharp during this week? And then you kind of view it that way, too, where it's kind of like now you're going into the second half where you're hoping to turn things around.
Yeah, faith is a big deal to me, and I've been through adversity. I don't know if it teaches character, but it reveals it. When you're squeezed, whatever's on the inside comes out. And so I want to make sure that I'm authentic and that my message is real to the guys. And so there have been times where we were hot and I wanted to play every day. And then, maybe, I don't say you pray for rain, but you maybe say, hey, we could use a day or two to get healthy. And then this happens. And so there are bigger factors in the world than what we're going through. But to answer your question, we don't mind being off a few days just to get people back and get them healthy. We have a great indoor practice facility that we're going to use. We used the last 2 days. We're going to use today to try to simulate some sequences, some pitches that we're going to see, work on some swings maybe, just some minor details, show some video of what, and it is kind of a halfway point, and we get to catch our breath and reset for the second half. Yes, that's a good point.
Anybody else?
I just got one for Jace as well. I mean, you kind of, have been elevated to kind of a leadership role fairly quickly. So can you just kind of talk about, coming to Little Rock and just how you quickly kind of ascended to, one of the go-to guys?
Since I've been here, I just feel like we got a great group of guys that we get along. I mean, I feel like I've been really close with these guys since I first stepped foot. It really never took long to have a bond with these guys. I went to 2 different schools before this. I went to Georgia Tech, and then I went to a community college in Florida. And I feel like I'm close with these guys in a shorter amount of time than I was with the past schools. So, I've been playing pretty good on the field. Guys look up to me because I'm an older guy. I try to lead by example, and I'm just taking the role of kind of being a leader on the team, and I enjoy it. Great team to be a part of.
And most importantly, he's got his world record GPA going right now. So he's doing well all the way around.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
So just real excited, proud of these guys for winning our 3rd straight championship, our 2nd indoor championship in a row. On the indoor track, indoor we had Andrew Payton was OVC Athlete of the Year. We had Marcellus Harris, who was OVC Freshman of the Year, and then Tavian Nia, who was OVC Athlete of the Championship, who that goes automatically to the top point scorer from the indoor championship meet. But yeah, overall, it was just a really good indoor season. Nick Newby was kind of part of that mid-distance group that had I think broke 4 of the 5 school records in the distance events. We had our distance medley relay team, number 1 in the country with a few weeks left in the season. So it was and then we had one of his teammates, his training partner Andrew Payton, broke 4 minutes in the mile. So one reason why Nick's here also is he's going at our home meet. He's going to go for a sub 4-minute mile next week at the home meet. His teammate did it indoor, and they're good friends, so he wants to kind of not give him all those bragging rights and go for it himself. Looking ahead to outdoor, these 2 guys both, really started out on fire. They both went to Texas Relays with us. Tyler Moore's now 11th in the country in the 400 hurdles. He started out on fire. First meet of the season, we went to Ole Miss. He was top 5 after that first week, dropped his time and touch at Texas Relays. Now he's at 11th in the country. So he punched his ticket to nationals. So really with his training, we can just kind of focus on getting ready for NCAA prelims, which is late May, and really kind of train through some of this and not have to have that hanging over our head to get that qualifying mark in. Nick Newby, he took 4th in the 800 at Texas Relays. He hit just shy of his time from last year, but he's right there on the bubble as far as qualifying, and right now I think right around 30th in the country in the 800. But real excited for what just what the season's gonna hold for these guys. Also with Nick, we had 8 individuals qualified for NCAA's last year in 10 events. Nick's really only have 2 returning. We graduated the rest. Nick's one of those 2, along with Matt Haskey, who tore his Achilles early in the year, so he's out for the season. So a little bit of an uphill battle with this outdoor season, just with what we graduated from last year and a few injuries, but I don't think it's anything that this group of guys can't overcome.
Nick, could you speak a bit about just how it's been to continue the success that this program's been having in the distance events, and just what's been like for you to just continue to perform at this high level?
Oh yeah, no, it's been awesome. Since my freshman year, whenever I first came in here, we, as a program, went from placing like second to last in the conference to eventually winning 3 conference championships in a row, which is where I am now, going on for a 4th, hopefully. But no, it's been great. I battled with injury a bit my first 2 years, and just coming back from that has been a bit of a relief, because I've always had these goals in mind, sub 4 being one, that I just wanted to accomplish. Like, I wanted to make it to nationals, I still do, and this year's probably my best chance. Yeah, but just being able to run and be healthy has been the greatest blessing I could ever ask for, and just the level that we're competing at now is pretty awesome from where I started. I mean, you can look at the stats and see that there are more billionaires in the world than guys who are currently under 4 minutes in the mile, or guys who have run 50 point in the 400 meter hurdles. So I mean, just looking at that and just thinking about just like where you started and where you're at now is pretty big, and something to be very grateful for. And I'm just excited to continue, see what happens.
Tyler, for you to be able to kind of get that nationals time out of the way early so it's not hanging over your head, how much does that help, and kind of how does that change the outlook for things going forward?
It's huge, actually. I mean, it gives us an opportunity to go out and do other events. It helps me. I can go run an open 400 because it's the time difference, like, because it's 30 minutes in between each event. And so it just gives me more opportunities to be faster in different events, see what I really can do in the other events. And yeah. But it feels good getting it out the way. Week 1, didn't have to worry about it no more. Kind of get to relax till conference, and then I get to cruise at conference, and then just go out there and win it.
Yeah, kind of all that. A lot of people view the 400 hurdles, if not the toughest, one of the toughest races in track. So just talk about your mindset, like mentally, how do you kind of prepare yourself to go through that gauntlet? That's tough. That's a tough race.
It's either going to punch you in the mouth or you're going to punch it in the mouth. And it's just kind of the way that you got to take it. Like, it's the approach. And with the races that we've done over the years, I've learned a lot over the years. Just some new race plans. I implemented a new one week 1, and it kind of worked and it clicked. And last week, we kind of just wanted to do the same thing, not really experiment too much, because now we have an off week. We can really work on different ideas with the race, because I can still watch the videos and understand that there's room for improvement. I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, we could be better here, we could be better there. And it's just communicating with him to make sure we get what we need to be done, get what needs to be done.
Coach, just talk about Tyler and Nick and their progression here, and their hard work to make them successful and the place that they're in now.
Yeah, well, Tyler has a reputation at practice. One, he throws up a lot, so after something, and then say the 400 hurdles is the hardest race on the tracks, and we get to those grueling reps, and we get a couple reps in, and I really want to try and simulate that last 100 meters of a 400 meter race. I remind him, you're training for the hardest event on the track, so you got to train like it.
So he's one that he'll be off on the grass somewhere, maybe kicking a few of the workouts. So he is where he is because of his guts. Like he's a worker. Nick Newby, I'm so proud of this guy coming off getting over so much adversity and injuries. His first 2 years were tough. Like it was one injury after another and frustration, and that's one of the hats you wear as a coach, is trying to talk these kids off cliffs sometimes when things aren't going their way. So it's keeping his head up, and then he turned a corner, and it was awesome to see him come back. I think it was a couple years ago at the OVC championship where really got those times down, and last year qualifying for NCAAs, won the OVC championship last year, got the school record in the 800 last year. So yeah, just seeing him overcome adversity, get to where he is, finish his career as one of the best mid-distance Trojans of all time, and he's a fifth-year senior, he'll be graduating this year. Tyler Moore's got one more year with us, thank goodness. So he's he kind of sets the tone for that group. We've had a lot of success with our hurdles over the last couple of years, and him stepping up this year as an upperclassman and really just kind of lead him by example. And we're expecting that whole group to really contribute to this outdoor championship, and hopefully we get the job done.
Anybody else? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, hey guys, thanks for coming. Obviously, with what all the other coaches and us giving our perspective and what we're looking forward to. Women's golf just wrapped up the spring season. We finished our last regular season event. We're now preparing for the OVC championship next week down in Russell Shores, Alabama. So we're looking forward to that. Obviously, we are the reigning champions, so there's a little bit of pressure and a target on our back. So we're kind of preparing. As Coach Curry previously mentioned, this is not baseball or golf weather. So, as a head coach, we're having to kind of change it up this week, kind of check those radars every 10 minutes to see when we can get in and out. But obviously, I'm joined with my two seniors, but we're definitely preparing well for the OVC coming next week.
I want to ask, on the back of the shirt it says, "Job's not done." What's the story there? What's kind of the message in that?
So that is actually from last year. So last year our phrase for the entire season was "Job not done." When we joined the OVC, we were favorites going into the first ever OVC Conference Championship. Katja and Anna will tell you we kind of went in with the expectation to walk away with it, and Moorhead basically handed us their best golf. So last year going into the OVC, the entire season, our phrase for the entire season was "Job not done." Obviously we went into the OVC and we brought that trophy home. So this year, to keep it going, it's not a one-year feat, right? We don't want to just win the OVC one year, we want to win it every single year and get to the NCAA regionals every single year. So that's now our team motto, is "Job not done," because it's never over.
Just for the, two golfers, how do you handle the, I won't say pressure, but the expectation, given the success recently and now kind of having that, expectation to do as well as you did? Just what's kind of been the mental process for that?
Obviously the expectation is from the outside, but we have that expectation from the team inside too. Especially the two of us as seniors, we saw our sophomore year that winning is not a given. So we had to push back last year and show Moorhead and all the other teams that we can play golf and that we are the competition. And so we have the expectation from the outside, yes, but we as a team and especially seniors want to win OVC every year. That's what we're gonna have the mindset next week to go in there and win.
Yeah, our expectations stays the same for most of our events. Just keep taking one shot as it comes, and just simple golf. Especially, we played this course 2 years ago when we first moved to the OVC. So myself and Katja, we have a little bit more knowledge on the course, we could say. So we're just going to keep working hard on our games as a team and go in and try to defend our title.
How much different is it coming in, having won it before, versus the last couple of years where you come in trying to do something that y'all have never done before? How much different is it this time around?
I feel of like, well, I don't really think about it too much. I just try to go in the whole time, just play my own game and take one shot as it comes, and then hopefully at the end of the day we're lifting that trophy on the 18th green.
Coach, you kind of already touched on it a little bit, but with golf being one of those sports where it is, you're very limited in what you do with the rain. So with sort of big meet coming up, like how are you guys kind of handling this week, and kind of just how's that preparation go? What can you get done when it's pouring rain outside?
Yeah, so obviously Frank touched on it. We do have an indoor facility that we can use. But honestly, it's, Coach Curry touched on the adversity that his team has faced. This is a little bit of adversity with the practice we're able to do. We made some adjustments. The girls realize this, but usually our travel schedule is we have a tournament and I give them the next day off. We knew the incoming weather was coming, so they were lifting weights and practicing yesterday morning straight off the bat from the last event. So it's just kind of little changes that we make. But I preach to the girls the entire time that they play for me. We are a tough team, mentally and physically, and I throw a lot at them the entire year. They'll probably not shy away from that fact. And that's, to prepare us for moments like this when everything doesn't go to plan, right? We can't control the weather, we don't know what's gonna happen, but we can only do as much as we can do. And, some people, when they're like, hey, we have our conference championship coming up, there's a potential we're not gonna practice on the golf course for 5 days. That could kind of throw some players out of whack, but our team just kind of rolls with it, and I think that's because of everything we do leading up to this moment.
Anybody else? Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
Coming again, we've had a busy spring. We just got back from Oregon and Stanford over spring break, so the guys have been playing a lot of golf. We played between practice rounds and competition. We played 8 rounds of golf in 7 days, so which isn't necessarily normal. So the rain isn't at awful timing for us. We've had, since last time we were in here, we played 3 events. We got 4th in Louisiana, we got 4th in Oregon, and then we just got back from Stanford. There's 30 teams there, and we finished 13th. We haven't, in the last 3 events, we've had a number of really good individual performances. Freddie on our team finished 4th in Louisiana, and then he actually just won Stanford's event last week, which was pretty incredible. It's the biggest win in school history for an individual to win on our team. And then Mateo's played really well as well. He got 8th in Oregon, and then he got 12th at Stanford as well, so he played very solid. Archie's had some good finishes. He finished 6th. He finished 6th at Oregon. So we've had a number of good individual finishes the last 3 tournaments. We really haven't pieced it together as a team the last 3 tournaments, which is a little unfortunate. At Oregon, we were in the lead after the first round, and then we had the second lowest round in the final round. We just didn't piece it together in the second round, and that cost us. And we finished 4th there, but we were only 6 shots from winning, which in golf is a very small amount. So it was a really bunched leaderboard. We had a good chance to win there, even with struggling just a little bit from a depth perspective and kind of getting that 4th score. And then at Stanford, the field was really good. There was 30 teams there. 13 teams were in the top 50, including us. We're 40th still right now. And then there was 19 of the 30 teams were in the top 90 in the country. So it was a really good field. We finished 13th, which wasn't at all with what we were trying to do, obviously. Freddie played amazing. Mateo played great. We just struggled at the bottom of the lineup. We've got to have some guys here at the end of the year to kind of step up, and I think we're well on our way to doing that. This is a good little 8-day stretch to kind of reset and regroup a little bit. We played a lot of golf in March, so we have a good stretch here to kind of just regroup, work on our swings, recharge the batteries a little bit. We have a good chance to win in Iowa. We're the best ranked team in the field, so we have a good chance to win there next week, and then obviously conference we have a really good chance to win. So 2 good chances the next couple weeks to go out there and get some wins.
What do you want to see in Iowa out of your team to give you confidence heading into the OPC tournament that you guys are ready to go, that you're all feeling good, that you can win the SIG?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we just got to have, if we play 5 guys, we've got to have 5 guys in the running of it. You know, we've been struggling with having, I mean, we only count 4, but we've been struggling to kind of have all 5 guys right there where we've got a little bit of a safety net, and it's not like we're a 3-legged dog out there right from the jump. So, you know, I think that would be one of the biggest things for me, apart from playing well and all that, but just seeing that, you know, all 5 guys are kind of in it the whole round, and, you know, we're fighting to drop a 73 as opposed to dropping a 77 or something like that. So I think that would be something really good to see at Iowa from a, I guess maybe not as much of a direct score resulted goal.
Awesome. Just talk a little bit about Freddie and the impact he's made on this program. You don't see freshmen usually, you know, come out of the gate like this. Just what kind of impacts he had, and how did you find him? How did he end up here?
He was actually, I was at UCA, he was committed to UCA, and then I came here, so he jumped ship. But, you know, I think we have a good environment and a good team environment, and that's a lot of the reason he's done really well. I mean, Mateo's a senior. Archie on our team, who was here last time, is a senior. I think they've done a good job of leading this year and making him comfortable. You know, I think that, you know, yes, he's a freshman, but I don't really treat any guys like freshmen. You know, I mean, I kind of expect them all to perform, and whether you're a freshman or a senior, you know, come in and play. And I think, you know, that's kind of been how he's thrived this spring, I guess. I mean, it was in there. It was just, you know, kind of getting him to see how good he was, and then he did that in the first event of the spring, and then it's just kind of, the momentum just kept going from there. I mean, we've all seen how good he is. You know, Mateo's one of those as well. Archie's one of those as well. Rhett has it in him too. So I think, you know, we've got 3 guys that are fighting it out for Player of the Year in the conference, and, you know, these next 2 weeks will be pretty critical for that. But yeah, he's had a really good spring. You know, he works really hard, and I can't say enough good things about him, really. He's in class, or he'd be in here too, so he's a little bit back to reality today. But, you know, yeah, he's done really well this spring. But I think part of that's been our seniors and the leadership they have to kind of just make everybody feel comfortable and perform.
Taylor, for you, what's been working well for you lately to let you have kind of the hot run that you've been on?
Yeah, I feel like my swing is in a really good spot. Trying to hit it. I'm trying to practice the shots I really need in the tournaments, and I feel like it's kind of working. And obviously, coach reminds me every day to get better around the greens, because like usually in college golf, it's crucial to have like a good chip and putt around, like to make sure that your score are gonna be consistent, and you try to shoot under par every round. But yeah, I'm just trying to push everyone on the team, and I'm gonna still try to get better for the next few events that we're waiting for us.
Talk about your relationship with Freddie as a freshman coming in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, Freddie, like I like him. We play a lot of golf together, and we just try to push each other, and it's fun competing with him during the qualifying rounds, and I'm happy for him, like for his win, and that he's playing well. He really helps us a lot during the season.
I think with Mateo, he's having a really good year too. He's averaging 71.1 this year, and last year he averaged 72.5. So in golf, that's a really big jump to see a 1.4 stroke difference per round. You know, and Mateo's worked really hard on his mental side. I think that's been the biggest thing we worked on. And even, you know, last week on spring break, he didn't necessarily have everything clicking, but he did a really good job of grinding out rounds and making putts and getting the ball up and down. And that's why he played well, even though, you know, for him, he maybe didn't hit it as great as he would have liked.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate you guys. It's always great to have you guys here supporting us and on our side. You know, all of you guys have done an awesome job of being in our corner this year and covering us, and we're very grateful for that. And it's pretty wild time in college sports, and I'm grateful to be a part of this university and the direction that we're going. And I think that is a reflection of if you look around this room and how many champions we have and the attitude that we're taking towards the next steps, whether it be with revenue share or however it moves forward. I think that you're seeing the same attitude reflected by the admin of what we want to do, and we're going all in. So grateful to be here, and I can give recaps. I would much rather answer the questions that you guys have for me and my 2 All-Americans.
Coach, you finished again with 2 All-Americans at the end of the year. I mean, what does that say just about these 2 young men that are here with you at the table, as well as just how your program has grown over the last 2 years?
Yeah, well, we kind of, no one truly understands how hard it is what we've done. I think these 2 are a testament of staying the process, of just hard work, grit, perseverance, and strong faith. I think those 2 really, really embody that, and they've been unwavering great examples for those around them, and I'm very proud of them. What they helped us do this year was the best we've ever done as a program. Finished 17th in the tournament, and finishing the polls number 15 in the country, and having 2 All-Americans. That's a good weekend. That's a good year.
Maddie, for you, I guess, just walk me through the emotions of being an All-American for the first time. And I mean, you had a heck of a journey to get to that point.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've looked up videos of all previous champs, and everyone always says take it 1 match at a time. And last year, just being at the tournament was such a big deal, and I was looking up at the crowd, and I was trying to find my family, and it was such an honor to be there. And then as soon as I got done, I was upset because I wanted to keep wrestling. I mean, I just love going out there and competing. And so this next year, I mean, every time before I stepped on the mat, I was never looking up. I was right here. I kept kind of doing this, like keep me eye level, because I was just focused on whoever was stepping in front of me. And it didn't matter who it was. I think some of the guys went out there hoping to get an easy match at nationals, but I've been going there since I was watching my older brother. I know the type of level it's at, so I was prepared for a war every time, and I mean that happened to be what it was. I mean every match was right there, and thankfully I was able to come out on top of the ones I needed to, and it was fantastic. I mean being there, and there was a lot of emotion, from seeing one of my best friends be taken out of the tournament, and seeing my brother lose and wrestle his last match. So there was a lot of emotion. I had to push back, and at one point, I mean, I'd see my brother, my other good buddy. I was like, we can cry about it when I have my trophy, and then it'll feel a lot better. So it was really cool, to complete that goal of mine, and it was almost unbelievable. I mean, I was with them in the tunnel, and I literally just said, "What just happened?" And it was unbelievable, but at the same time, I had to believe the whole time, and these guys believed in me, my teammates and my family, so it was really awesome to get the job done.
Anybody else?
Coach, I was going to ask you, I mean, it's a little bit unrelated, but with Gable getting upset there, on the Saturday night, and obviously, with the president making an appearance, and just kind of the environment around there, can you just kind of speak on the overall, really the players, I mean, really y'all can speak on it, but just kind of the environment of being up there in Philly in that environment, and kind of just the surface that it was.
Yeah, I mean, these 2 got to meet a sitting president. Who gets to shake a sitting president's hand? That's not something a lot of people get to say they get to do. That was pretty stinking cool. I was on the fence of how I felt about Gable losing. I'm a big Gable Stevenson fan. He's probably, if it wasn't my guy, I would have wanted him to win, right? He's probably the greatest American heavyweight we've ever had, and probably will be for time to come, in the foreseeable future. And I kind of had mixed emotions. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the way that when you have 20-something thousand people excited, that was a cool moment, but it was also like, dang, that, he's representing the United States. He's won the gold medal Olympics, and You kind of wanted to see him go out on top, but the excitement and the energy was awesome. I can tell you stories about Secret Service and having to go through all sorts of security and take different measures. So I think I don't know if circus is the right word, but it was definitely extra, right? And I'll let these two kind of speak on being able to. He received a pretty cool award too. So.
Yeah, I mean, so I went up to President Trump, and it was really cool to obviously meet someone who's so powerful and, President of the United States. So, and as soon as I walked up, I mean, my face looked like I got ran over by a car. It was all swollen, I was bleeding, and he just was like, man, this guy must love wrestling. And I said, yes, sir. And then I came back around because I missed a picture on my phone, and since I came back around, he asked me about UFC. He's big into that, obviously, and asked if I would ever do it. And I said, I had the face for it. And he thought that was, I think he felt sympathy for me because my face. So he went in his pocket and handed me a presidential challenge coin and said, this made real gold. I was like, well, that's really sweet. So yeah, hand me that. So I kept that at home because my parents didn't want me to lose it, and got a cool little case for it. So that's gonna be a cool story to tell my grandkids and stuff.
Yeah, I just I just got off the podium and walked up to him. I didn't get all the stuff that Matty got. I just got a handshake and a congratulations, but it was a really cool experience.
Well, for you, I think the first two-time All-American, just kind of, it gets to that level where you're kind of are setting the standard. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, it was great. I don't think I wrestled to my 100%. I kind of had my ups and downs. The tournament, my second day was really up, but my first and third day, they weren't my best. I think I can do a lot better, and I'm still happy with my placement. I'm one step higher than I was last year, so can't complain. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think Steve's being a little humble. We can call it what you want, but after Pac-12s, he was basically in concussion protocol for most of the period of time between Pac-12s and the NCAA tournament. I think he was running with 3 full tires and 1 half flat when he got to the NCAA tournament, and to do what he did took a lot of grit and a lot of toughness, and he's been the standard of our program for a while, and to be able to do what he did, especially coming off of really a tough day one, it just kind of didn't seem like he was himself, and found a way to rattle off 4 matches in a row. You don't wrestle 4 matches in a day hardly at all, let alone having to beat returning All-Americans just to make the placing match. Is a true testament to how tough he is.
Stephen and Matty, you can both answer this, but at that point in time in the season, especially for you, Stephen, you just talked about how you didn't perform as well as you wanted to. At that point in time of the season, how much does fatigue kind of set in? I mean, it's been a long season. You guys have been going through match after match after match. How much does fatigue start to set in? And you've made it to the ultimate point in nationals. Now's the time to really perform and really turn it on. But you may not have that extra gear that you once had in the middle of the season, or maybe right after Pac-12. How much does fatigue set in, and how do you balance just rest and recovery in that moment?
Yeah, just throughout the whole season, I wrestle through everything. So if I'm sick the week before nationals, I'm going to be able to wrestle through it no matter what. It might not be my 100% best, but it's good enough to place. So I was sick this season. I was hurt this season. Like he said, I hit my head, and I took my breaks and I wrestled through all of it. So fatigue really wasn't a factor.
Matty, what about for you?
So yeah, every day you have to show up no matter how you're feeling, and we can be the best guy, the number 1 guy in the country, and we've had those types of guys on this team, and you could see if they didn't show up that day, it wasn't gonna go their way. So going up to nationals, I felt like I was seriously hitting my peak, which was great, but that didn't mean my body was always 100%. I mean, I don't know if you guys see, but I got a bunch of tape on my hands when I go out there, and that's just from constantly jamming my thumbs. Some people think it's for to look cool, but it's actually to protect some stuff. So but in my blood round match, I will say I was pretty fatigued, where my neck locked up completely, and I actually couldn't move it side to side. I had to kind of shoulder it, and then Leah was putting Tiger Balm icy hot on my back that I strained after my first match. But every time we went out there, you know, everybody's feeling this way. Everyone has injuries. You know, I know a lot of the guys who were at nationals, and they were telling me, yeah, I tore my ACL last week. And it's just like whatever you have going on, nobody cares. And if you honestly tell them, they're going to use it to their advantage. So it was just putting fatigue aside and letting just heart take over, because that's what came out to a lot of matches was did you have the heart to go through? Are you willing to push past how you're feeling right now? Because all you've ever wanted is right in front of you, and if you let anything hold you back, you might not get it. So I think when fatigue kicked in for me, it was heart that took over. So.
Anybody else?
Real quick, Coach. Obviously, you know, it's known that you had two well-known wrestlers leave your program through the transfer portal. Have you experienced that in terms of wrestlers from your program leaving to go to a bigger program? And if you haven't, how do you go about moving forward with your program and just rebuilding from that?
Yeah, well, we didn't get to where we were because anybody was bigger than the program. We have our two most consistent guys here. They could have gone and got paid a lot of money as well, and they chose not to. We're grateful for the time that those student athletes were here and what they did for our program. But I think that with that is going to come a big culture shift in our program, and we already got a good culture, but I think there's going to be a lot of positivity that comes out of it. There's a lot of different ways you could say it, addition by subtraction or whatever it may be. But the transfer portal takes and it gives, and so we got a lot of people interested in our program and what we've done. They see what we've done with our athletes, and they want to be a part of it. They see the message that we have, and they want to be a part of that. At the end of the day, you want guys that want to be a part of your program. And don't get me wrong. I mean, if those two guys perform to the level of their capability, we finish in the top 10. No question, hands down. And that's hard to replace. When it comes to points at the NCAA tournament, but we've done a lot more with a lot little, and I feel very confident that we're going to come out on top here, and I think we're going to be even better next year.
How much easier is it to recruit when you can point to guys like the guys sitting next to you and say, hey, this is the kind of success you can achieve here?
Yeah, well, I mean, great athletes, great coaches around me. They tend to make me look good, but they're doing all the work, and these guys are the epitome of what it takes to start something, work for it, stay process-driven, and accomplish their goals. And I think that everyone else is shocked, but if you spent every day with us, you wouldn't be shocked. You'd be like, I knew it was coming. I felt it. And, they're talking about Leah. I mean, even Kaylee, our SID, was able to come back this year. I promise you, everybody that's been a part of our program since day one knew Maddie was going to get on that podium at some point. And we knew Mr. Two-Time was going to get it done again. So, just a really, really good example of what we expect here.